Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Bash Nyugodtan, Bash. Yep. So today we are talking about something which is more into Excel's duty, which is the formulas, because, like most of the things that we took it before, we could do it on MS Word. So now we are doing the thing which is MS. So let's start. So normally for the functions and for the formulas, we have three categories for the formulas, which are the mathematical and statistical. Then the last one is the logical functions. So now for our first day, we are just taking the mathematical. So we will talk about each of them one by one, but we are using the manual and the way that gave us the proper, let's say, expertise level in using formulas, which is writing the formula by hand. So when we are saying that this person is in expert or in advanced level for Excel or Word or anything else, so they have to know how to use the keys and how to the data without going every time to the wizard. So now I will teach you how to use the formulas and the things straight by writing them and using the manual way. So the very beginning that you have to be aware of is written the equal. There is no formula without the equal sign. If you did a mistake and you wrote a formula without equal, so it means that you are not even in the basic level for using Excel. So please never, ever, ever forget about this equal. So without this equal, you cannot write any formulas. So yep, what we are doing, we are just writing the abbreviation of summation, which is sum, then open a bracket. We cannot sum a text or a string. So this is obvious that we have to apply the function of sum on a column or a bunch of cells that it contain numbers. So yeah, this is obvious. So what we are doing now, we are applying on the price. So how to select a bunch of cells using the keyboard? Let's bring the online keyboard on screen keyboard, let's say. So what I'm doing, after I select the first cell, I select it and now pressing Shift, Control, and then this arrow down. It will automatically select all the cells that exist on our list of data. Then closing the bracket, press Enter. We have the result. Also, when we are going to the formula bar, we see how we wrote this function. So what we did, we said equal, then we wrote sum. Later on, we open a bracket. We select the first cell. Then by using Shift, Control, and down arrow, we select all the data. Then we close the bracket and enter. Now we have the sum. Okay? Or we could use another way. We will say equal sum, open the bracket. We know the first cell is E2. Then going down to see what's the last cell. So the last cell is 29, because here the number of row, and this is then the name of the column. So we know that the names is starting from then the column name and then the row number. So it's easy. We could just do it this way. We will say E2 colon to E29. Close the bracket, enter. So now we have the summation. It's up to you if you already, for example, today I now like, because I'm using this data and I will apply it on all the other data. So I don't need each time to just do the shift control, the arrow down. So I'm just like doing it once. And now I remember that it's starting from 2 to 29. So I will apply on the other the same way. So this is the easiest and this the professional way to use the summation. Now let's move on to use the average. For average, we do the same equal, then writing average, open the bracket, colon to E29, and then enter. It will give you this average, or I could just say equal. I know this is the summation. So the summation divided by the number of rows is 28, because we know it's starting from 2 to 29, so it's going to be 28. So enter. It gives me the same number and the same amount. So now we know how to do the summation and the average manually. And we said that the sum and the average, these two are just applying on the cells that contain number. Now moving to the third one, which is count. Count, you know, that counting the cells that contain data. So for counting also, we cannot apply on something that is not contain numbers. So for count as well, we have to have cell that is filled with number. Please, these three, do not forget that the first, the sum, the average, and the count, three of them just can be applied on the cells that contain numbers. Okay, so here, what we are doing, just the same way, equal, count. For example, if I want to apply it on this, let's say the countries, which is starting from A2 to A29, let's see what's the result. It gives me 0. However, I'm sure that there I have 28 cells that being filled with data, but because the data is not number, so counting are not dealing with, and it's not counting them as filled. So it's just showing me that there is 0. However, I have numbers there. Well, so how to get over this? So let's change this one, because we know that there we don't have any data. So just to practice it on something that contain data, so we are going to where we are just going to somewhere that it contain data. So now here I see it tells me that we have 28 cells filled with data. Great. Well, if I want to count some cells which is contain text, what to do? Should I just go and count it by hand and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, things like this? No, it's not a proper way. So what to do? We have what? We have count all. Count all. This A mean all. So it counting everything, literally everything, except one thing, which is we know it later. Let's say equal. Now, let's count the country. So we will say count A, then open the bracket from A2 to A29 and close the bracket, enter. So yeah, I have 28. It's true. So do we think that when we said count all, it counting everything, literally everything? No. For example, if I delete this Germany, I see the counting is just like decrease one number. It means that we cannot count blank, even with using count all. So count all is not counting blank. As the count, the normal count also is not counting blank. So if I have blank, so how to get or how to count them? It's super easy. We have what? We have count blank. Sorry, because I forgot to write the equal. So this is really a disaster I did. So yes, I just wrote it and then I will give the range, which is starting from A2 to A29 and enter. Now it tells me that we have one blank. And you have to look for the blank cell if it exists. So what you are doing, you're just like going and selecting the range and then checking for blanks. For example, if I have this one also blank, let's take this one. Okay. So, and I want to check all the data. What I will do, I will say it starts from A0, A2 to F29. So I will give them the whole range and enter. Now it checks all the sheet or all the range that I gave, and it will count the blanks for me, and it will tell me, yes, you have two blanks in your data. So go and check them and try to fill them back, because you are in a deep problem if you have blank. For example, now here we have orphan data. So what is the country? We know there is Berlin, and from here we will say, yeah, this is Germany. But here also we have this cell is blank, so we have to contact the owner of the data, or we have to check our hard copy data to see what was the data here. I remember it was 69. So yeah, I just fill it. So now I have 0 blank. This is the way that you are dealing with those function, and the use of those function has to be like this. Now we knew how to do the sum, how to do the average, and how to do the counting, and what is the difference between count, count A, and count blank. Because in the exam, you will see that I will tell you we have such a range of data that is contained this and that. How to count the field cells. So here you have to be aware that you cannot say, okay, I will just stick to the count, or I will just stick to count blank, or I will just stick to count all. You have to check the data and then make your decision. According to the data, you will then make your decision. So don't rush to answer anything without checking them. Good. Now, if I want to apply summation on a data according to some criteria that I have or somebody is asking me for, how to do this. This part is really important and you have to be ready for it and focus because this is important. What we are doing, we are saying equal sum. If, then open the bracket. Now I have to give the range. The range of what? The range of both the criteria and the data that I want to sum. And I now then what else we have? We have D2 because I am looking for let's say days that or let's do it differently. Just looking for those who they are traveling with train, and I want to know the price summary or the price summarize. So here I'm selecting all the data, or I could just write it here. It's super easy. I will say it's starting from D2 to E29. Then give the criteria. What is my criteria? My criteria is I'm using what? I'm using the double quote. Here on my computer, the double quote is on number 2, but on your computer, the double quote is here next to enter, where the letter ta in Arabic is written on. So you are using shift and this sign. For example, I'm using shift and then number 2 to give me the double quote, like shift and number 2. For you, you are using shift and this key, which is here, is written at on it, and on some computer is written something else. So it's the one which is next on your computer is the one which is next to enter. Hold shift and then press this one to get you the double quote, to give you the double quote, sorry. So now what I will write train and then close the double Yep. So, yep, we are back. So what I will write here, I will write the first, we choose the range of both some range which contain number and the criteria range, then we choose the criteria okay. We choose what? Good. So we wrote that in the beginning, what I choose is going back here. First, I choose the both range, which is starting from D2 to E29. Then we choose the criteria, which is here, we mention it. Later on, we choose the range for the summation, which is here. So this is how we deal with the if. Okay. What about the other one, which is equal? Now I'm coming here again. If I want to use some if s, so when we saw s, it means that we have more than one criteria or one condition. So if we have more than one condition, or if our data or the columns that we are applying this condition on are far from each other, so what we are using the if s. So for if s, what we have is exactly the opposite of the if. Why? Because in if, we say that the very end we are putting the sum range, but here in if s, we are putting the sum range in the very beginning. For example, if I want to apply it on day of number of days, so what I will do, I will just say it start from A, B, C to C29. Okay. Then I'm giving the criteria range 1 and then the criteria 1. For example, the criteria range 1, I want to start from A2 to A29. And what is my criteria? Shift, double quote. Let's say we are trying to apply it on Spain. Okay. Where's the S? Yeah. Then I have the second condition, which is I will apply it on the, let's say the resort name or the method. Yeah, let's just go to the method. So we are saying the method is A, B, C, D. Yeah, it's starting from D2 to D29. And then what will be my criteria here? Let's pick for coach. Okay. Now, I see here, first I picked the range that I want to apply the sum on, which is here. Then I picked the range for the first criteria, which is the country. Then what's my criteria? Spain. Second, I picked the range of method, travel method. Then what's the method that I want to choose the sum of is the coach. So now let's explain how this works. First, before the MS Excel giving us the output, what it do for us? It going to take the criteria first and then checking them, applying the condition that I put it, and picking the data, then going back to the column of my sum range and pick the data from there when the both criteria is applied and both of them are true. And then making the summation at the very end for those data, which is the both criteria being applied on and both of them are true. So let's see, enter. So it gives me 7. Why? Because for sure I just have one, which is start, like, or the country is Spain, and the method is coach. Simple like this. So let's explain it here. Good. Then right here. Um, First, we have to choose the sum range, and then choosing the first criteria range and the criteria, okay, sorry, and the criteria, and then and so on for the other criteria if we have. So it's going to be this way. First, we have to choose what? Going back here. First, what we choose the criteria or the range of the sum, where we have numbers, right? It is here. Second, we choose the first criteria range, which was the country, and then gave the criteria. Again, choosing the second criteria range, and then the criteria, and so on. Sometimes I just so there was like 10 conditions in one line, because they want to go so specific and so detailed to get the result. So you could just do it this way. There's no problem at all. You have just to differentiate between what is the criteria range and what is the sum range. Then you could just put the criteria, so easy, without any problem. So this is how we deal with the sum if. Easy and so sweet, because it's just make our life easier. Okay, so let's move on to apply on average if and average if s. These two are exactly the same as we did it with the sum and sum if and sum if s, without any different and without any issue. So let's try it and let's do it. This time I could just say from here straight equal average if, and then open the bracket, give the range in general, which I could just give this to range C2 to or let's give some other range. So we could just say B2 to C29. This is the range in general for all the data. Then we give the criteria, which is Berlin. I have to put it between double quote, right? And then give the average range, which is start from D2 to D29. So let's check it again. C, sorry, yeah. Oh my God. It was so close to make a disaster. Sorry. Yeah. So what we have here, we have first the range for both of them. Second, the criteria. And third, the range of the sum. Exactly as we did it with the sum if. It's totally fine. And I know that what I have to deal with. So enter. Now it gives me 7. This is the average. Surprisingly, these two numbers is exactly the same. We didn't plan for it, right, Mom Sabnar? I think you planned for it. So yeah, let's do equal average if s, and we said this one is exactly same as sum if s. So yeah, let's do it. Why we have to think about it? So what's the sum range? Again, let's give it C2 to C 29. And then what's my first range to apply the criteria on, and where, or let's say where I want to choose the criteria from. Um, let's do it on B2 to B29, then Peking, Berlin, and then we could choose the country. No, the country is gonna be so obvious. Yeah, why not? Let's choose the country. A2 to A29. Okay. And the criteria are gonna be Germany. And yes. So what I have the range for the average, and then the range for first criteria and the criteria, the range for second criteria and the criteria, and enter. Wow, it's the same. How come this one? Come on, we did it this way just to be the same number and to check if it's give us the same number, because Berlin is in Germany, and for this one we just picked Berlin. So yeah, exactly, it has to be the same number. It's obvious. So we know, like, it is easy and it is fun because you are just doing the things according to what is required on you, instead of just going filtering and then take this and take that and then do the sum and do the average or do other things. So no, yeah, just like doing in one line. Just write the code and do not forget the syntax, because the syntax is all you need. Great. Let's move on. What we have count if. Well, we said count is just applying on number. We are all agree on this because we try it on text and it doesn't work. And also, we know that count all is just like applying on everything except blank cells. And we have count blank, which is just counting the blank cells. Well, for count if, it works exactly as count A, because it's just counting everything without exception, um, and giving us the output without any problem. For example, let's do it. It's not a big deal. Go in here after we select the cell and say equal. Now, I want to know how many of these count if. I want to check the range, which is starting from B2 to B29, which is all of them are text. Then giving the criteria is gonna be, let's try Barcelona. Okay. No one tell me that I'm fan of Barcelona. That's why I picked Barcelona. No, I'm fan of Manchester United. So let's press enter. Hmm, I think I made a mistake. Where I made the mistake in the spelling. Exactly, because I wrote Barcelona wrong. That's why. Yeah. I have four. I have four Barcelona in my data. So it's just counting the Barcelona for me. So this is how we are dealing with the count if. So what about count if s? Well, it's same. We write equal count if s. So this s is mean that we have more than one condition and we have more than a range. So let's pick the first criteria range, which is A2 to A29. Then what is my criteria? My criteria is just saying Spain. Again, I'm doing the same things with this data, which is I'm just picking Barcelona again. So we say B2 to B29. And then what is my criteria? The criteria is Barcelona. Am I writing right this time? Yes. And then enter. So it gives me four. Oh my God. This time also it's repeated. Is it planned? Yes, exactly. It's planned because I choose Barcelona and I choose Spain third. So this is the country and this is the city from this country. So yeah, for sure it's gonna be the same. So that's why we have both of the numbers four, and the other things is exactly the same. It is easy indeed, and it is friendly, user friendly, and we can uh, apply simply on any sort of data and without any problem. So what I'm asking you now, I'm asking you to do the same thing that we did it, but with Mama Sabnar. And if you have any question, any sort of question, you could ask her and she will explain it to you. But I want each of you to practice at least on two functions and see the result, um, to know how to use it, because I think tomorrow you have a homework and you have to do it. Isn't it true, Mama Sabnar? Yeah. So yeah, wish you best of luck, and she will explain to you your homework as well. So good luck and see you inshallah tomorrow. I will leave you with Mama Sabnar.